Hello, my name is Nikita. Welcome back to my channel. Today's topic is I cut my sister off. I permanently cut my sister off. But before we get into that, I want to let y'all know that I am a little under the weather. I think I'm coming down with something. It's that time of year. You know how it goes. So I'm clearing my throat a lot and my voice is a little scratchy. So please forgive me for that. And one last thing also is I rewatch a lot of my videos and I noticed that I over explain myself a lot and I apologize a lot, and I'm really working on stop doing that because I like to come on here, especially when I'm having a good day like today, and I want to come on here with no makeup on and just talk and just speak freely without having to like over explain every single thing. So let me pick this up just a touch because I feel like we're a little too far down. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and get into the topic. So I have a sister. I have an older sister. A little backstory to this is I'm adopted. My sister is not my blood sister, but we did grow up together. So I considered her to be a sister. So me and my sister, we are completely opposite. Okay, now we're a little too far up. My bad, y'all trying to get this right. There we go. So, cool. So, we grew up in the same house. My sister is older. She was adopted first. And then a few years later, I came along. I don't remember exactly how old she was when, I want to say she was still young. I want to say maybe like 4 or 5 years old. So, there's the backstory to that. Me and my sister are completely opposite. My sister is very, I don't want to say hood because we didn't grow up in the hood. So I don't know what that's about, but y'all, I'm in a silly mood today. I'm sorry. I'm having a good day. I'm having a good day. But my sister, she's very, I don't know. She's more like centered towards like the streets and that life and everything that entails. Me, I didn't go down that road. Because I didn't see any benefit in doing that. So my sister, she does have a criminal history. She's a felon. She's in a relationship with a woman who is also a felon. They met in prison. So while she was, in the streets and, drugs and all that type of stuff, I was in the military and I was trying to get myself together and provide a life for myself. So you have that. So our personalities are very contrasting to that. So prior to me cutting her off, my sister was in prison. And at the time, I would send her money. And at the time I was married, so I was able to, finances were a lot more free, because I was able to, keep most of my money. I was married to a man that was a full-time provider, and that's a whole nother conversation. But from day one, he wanted to provide. That was the agreement. Anyway, back to the story. So I had more funds. So I would send her money, and I would send her like $50 or $60. It started off as every once in a while. Then she would ask for it for every week. And I was like, listen, I'm not sending you luxury prison items every week because you don't need it. Like you don't. Like, I'm sorry, but like you're in jail. So that's what that entails. You compromise your luxury. You compromise certain things when you go to prison. And it was prison, not jail. But to me, it's the same thing. So I would send her these, $50, $60, for these gifts or whatever, or these luxury purchases in jail. And it got to the point where I had to start telling her no. And I do struggle with the word no. I'm working on that too. So the one time that she had asked, and I told her no, like I don't have it. And at this period, some months had went past, and I was actually going through a divorce at the time. So my money had started to, we had to buckle down a little bit because it's just me now. And she went to Facebook and complained that nobody ever helps her, and when she get out, she only, gonna mess with the people who held her down, blase blase blase. Okay. So I don't do that whole social media stuff, y'all. I don't. We grown. You can call me, you can talk to me, but to run to Facebook and try to, I don't know what that's about. But I saw that as a red flag in our relationship. So I cut her off for that, because I've always helped you. But when I'm in a position and you can't even be empathetic, and empathy is a big thing in this video. If you can't even be empathetic, that I'm going through my own personal stuff right now and I don't have it to give to you. So I cut her off, and I cut her off for about 2 years. I know, y'all. I can hold a grudge. I can hold a grudge, okay? And that's just the way I am. Not everybody has to be forgiving, and oh, it's okay. No, I stopped doing that, because when you always do that, people will take advantage of you. And I got taken advantage of in this situation. So I cut her off. 2 years went by. She did reach out every blue moon, I don't know, like maybe like once or twice a year. And I never responded. She would email, I never responded, because I didn't want no parts of that. So I don't remember exactly how, but I think she had sent me an email, I want to say maybe like last August, October. It was before the holidays, I know. And this time I did respond, because I was in my path in Islam, and I wanted to start fresh. And I was like, okay, I'll give her, another chance. So I would go up. So she lives in Atlanta. So when I would visit Atlanta, after we got back in communication, I went to her job. She had turned over, a new leaf. She has to me, is a very, very good job, secure job. She goes to work, she's in a higher up position. So I was like, okay, like she's trying, the thing, people change and stuff like that. So when I went up there to visit, I went to her job and I actually met her girlfriend. Again, her girlfriend is from the streets. And ain't nothing wrong with me. And you are what you are. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you can't put certain people around certain people, because we're not gonna mesh well, because you have this way of thinking and this way of doing things, and I have my way of doing things. So I met her girlfriend. Her girlfriend was very accommodating, very friendly towards me, very welcoming. I had my son with me. And and looking back, I did not know this woman, the girlfriend. I did not know her, but I trusted my sister's judgment. Another red flag. And that, okay, like this is her girlfriend, we let it go. Everything's cool now. So I went up there for Thanksgiving, for Christmas. Everything was fine. And then I slowly started to notice that my son was voicing his opinions about things in the home. So if y'all don't know, my son does not live with me. I did not lose cousin like that. But my son is with his father, because I believe that a little boy, especially going in teenage years, they need that guidance from their father. I can't teach him, everything. So we made the decision years ago that my son would go and live with his father. Keep him on the straight path, raise him up, So anyway, so I started to notice that my son was very, very unhappy in his living situation. And that had never been a problem. And yeah, it could be me. Like, I never asked, because I just assume everything's fine. But he started to be very vocal about his living situation, how he didn't want to live with his dad. His father is remarried to somebody else, and him and stepmother don't get along. And this was news to me, but the kicker is that he wasn't telling me, he was telling the girlfriend. Okay? And I made so many mistakes in this. I'm gonna get towards the end, I'm gonna come in and say where I made my mistakes and what I learned, because I learned a lot from this situation. So I noticed that he would say things, but he would always go to the girlfriend. He would never come to me about it. So I did have a conversation with him, and I was like, hey, like, what's going on? I won't tell all the business, but there was a instance where I did feel like I needed to call CPS because my son was not feeling safe at home. So I went and did that. And during this time as well, like his father and his new wife, we have been fine. I wouldn't say we're great. We have very, very different parenting styles. We have been fine. But when my son started to be vocal about the living situation, there was a lot of tension that came about. And I'm sorry, I'm having like a tooth like sensitivity, so I keep licking my teeth. I'm sorry. But I just said I wasn't gonna apologize no more. But again, there was tension. There was tension, and I did sit down with them. I went to their house, sat down. We had a discussion. We talked for maybe 2 hours, y'all, about everything. Laid it all out. I had never had to do this before because things had been fine. So, we talked it out, and, and all this stuff happened. But I just thought it was so odd. I'm like, dang, like I've always been like kind of okay with them. But now since my sister is back in my life and this woman is talking, like, why are you talking to my son so much? That's odd to me. Like, you're talking to him without me being there. So at this point, I know his boundaries were starting to be, blurred. The girlfriend also, there was instances where she would get very snippy with me, and my sister would never say anything. Another red flag. What was the instance was, I think I was talking to my sister and we were joking about something. I'm when I'm having a good day and I'm in a good mood, I'm very silly, I'm very easygoing. So I think I was laughing with my sister about something, and the girlfriend said, oh, you talk white, or you sound white, or something like that. And I'm like, why the fuck would you and yet y'all, I'm a curse, so if you don't want to hear no cursing, I'm like, why the fuck would you say some shit like that? How am I sounding white because I talk with decency, I talk with manners? That's odd to me. But I did mention that to my sister, and I was like, hey, I don't really like that comment that she made, so I'm gonna give y'all some space. My sister didn't like that, so the girlfriend did text, and she did apologize for saying that. So you're apologizing not because you're sorry, you're apologizing because your partner is upset. And the girlfriend, what I've noticed, is very controlling when it comes to my sister. She does anything. It doesn't matter what my sister does. It can be right, wrong, whatever. She's going to have her back. And you'll see that in a minute, because like I said, I have receipts for this. So there was another instance where I was in Atlanta with my sister, and I was joking about something, and she was like, don't talk to my baby like that. Don't talk to my wife like that. And I'm like, I didn't even say nothing that's out of line. Like I would think I was joking. And like, y'all, when I say I'm like, my jokes are not disrespectful. My jokes are not shady. My jokes are nothing like that. Cause I don't do that to people. Cause I don't want nobody doing that to me. So, I don't know, it might've been like, oh, you taking too long in the bathroom or something, something that's really, really not that deep. But that was her second time showing me that attitude or that, aggression or whatever it was. So, and again, my sister never said nothing. So during this time, I did try. We would do things. We went to a couple fairs together. They had a big fair in Georgia. We went there. We went to Athens, Georgia. If you don't know anything about football, that's where University of Georgia plays. Very, very big school. We went there. We were doing things to try to build that relationship. So fast forward, everything's fine until July of this year. And this is where things took a hard right. Y'all, this is some good lip gloss. If you want, this is Yummy Lip Gloss by CoverGirl. Anyway, so July came, and y'all, July of this year was a very, very traumatic month for me. My mental health took the biggest dip that I have seen this year was in July. So in July, I had a cat, and she was a hairless cat, and I've never had any type of like connection with an animal like I did with her. And I'm not really a cat person. I've always been like more, towards dogs. But in Islam, dogs are considered unclean, so you can't have them in your home. But I think if you already have a dog, then I think it's kind of, I don't know. But but generally, dogs are not allowed in the home. So I was like, okay, like, let me get a cat, because it can get a little lonely here sometimes. I'm by myself. So I went and adopted a cat. I adopted her in March. And in July, I don't know what happened, y'all. She was literally fine. She was fine one day, and the next day she started throwing up. And she kept throwing up, and then I was okay, maybe, she ate something bad, a little upset tummy, whatever. So I did a couple home remedies, with like, I think they say like chicken and rice and stuff. The morning after I first noticed her being sick, that morning after that, that's when she started, to me, it became an emergency, because she stopped eating, she stopped drinking, she didn't want to walk. If she did walk, she would walk a little bit and she would fall. And she would walk and then she would fall. So I was like, okay, there's something else. So I, took her to the vet. The doctor did, some work, and found out that she did indeed have cancer. So it was really, really sad, y'all. I did have to make the difficult decision to go ahead and humanely euthanize her. And the people there, they were so helpful, y'all, because I was a mess. And I know, like, some people would be like, oh, it's just a cat. But you're talking to people who struggle with mental health, so let's think about it from that aspect. So any rift in my activities and my day-to-day routine causes negative aspects. So I made the decision, very difficult, to put her down. And when the doctor told me, like, y'all, I just lost it. Like, I was a sobbing mess. And they were so patient. They let me spend time with her. And y'all, I'm getting to think about it, but like that was just my baby, y'all. Like, I've never had a connection to an animal like that before. Like, I would come home and this girl, my sweet baby, will walk down the stairs and do like this, and I would give her, all these kisses and hugs, and I don't know, she was just so special to me. So I did have to, to let her go. And I was a mess. And then on top of that, I did have a credit card debt. Not a lot. I think it was like $2K, a very small amount to overcome. So I was like, okay, like I'm trying to deal with this, and I'm trying to, get my finances in order, because, so I took out a loan. And this is where we actually get to the story. I have to give y'all the backstory. So I took out a loan to pay off all of my credit cards so I could start fresh. So the loan was around $3K. Now, prior to me taking out this loan, there were instances where my sister would ask for money. And I'll see if I can find the text for that. I don't know if I still have that text. I don't know, but I know she would ask, and I would let her know, like, I'm on a fixed income. I'm a disabled vet, so my income does come from that. So there's no wiggle room. So I had to learn, like I say, if I don't budget my money, there's no help coming until the first. And y'all, the first can be a long time. And when you're trying to make, even like unexpected expenses. Anyway, so my sister would ask for money. And if I can find the text, I'll put it here. If I can't find it, I'm sorry. But she would ask, and sometimes I would help, and sometimes, I just couldn't. So when I took out the loan, I had extra money after I paid everything off. I was like, okay, I got a little bit of extra. Of course, I was going to use the majority of that to pay back into the loan. But there was some I was going to, keep a little bit for myself. So I texted my sister. I was like, hey, if you need money, now is the time to ask. And she wouldn't ask for a whole lot. This time she did, though. And this is how I learned. You don't never tell people your business. You don't ever show people your hand. Ever. So most of the time she would ask for like $50, $60, whatever. This time she asked for $300. Me being the woman that I was, I sent her the money. She was like, okay, I will pay you the money back on Monday. I think I sent it like on a Friday. So sent her the money. Monday comes, nothing. I'm like, hey, you said you would, oh, I'm waiting on my check, from work, from school, whatever. And as soon as I get it, I'll send it to you. All right. Tuesday comes. No money. Oh, girl, I'm so sorry. I'm waiting on the bank. As soon as they get it, I promise. As soon as they get it, I'm going to send it to you. I haven't forgot about you. Now I'm irritated. I'm irritated because I did not have to help you. And again, every time I help this girl, this is what happens. Like every time. My bad, y'all. So Wednesday comes. And when I woke up, I text her because I'm not playing no more. I was like, do you have my money? So she was like, oh, I don't have it. And I owe like 4 or 5 different people, and I'm doing everything I can to get all y'all paid. And girl, what? How you owe 4 or 5 people? How do you owe 4 or 5 people? Like, I'm sorry, y'all. I keep fiddling with stuff. Okay, how do you owe 4 or 5 people? So I text her back, and I was firm with her. I was not disrespectful. I was just firm. And I was like, okay, so I'm not going to give you any more money because I was nice enough to give you this, and you had no intention of paying me back. You could have just said that. Like, why did you even borrow the money if you knew that like you couldn't pay me back? Or you could have just been honest, because when I did have friends, I would borrow sometimes. There was only one friend, the friend I did a video about. We would borrow money from each other. But I would, if I felt like I was in a position where like, dang, like I can't pay him back right away, I would let that be known. Like, hey, I appreciate you trying to help, but I can't pay all of this money back at one time. So just communicate. So I was firm with her, and I was like, hey, I'm not going to give you no more money, and I don't want any more contact with you again. So my sister to this day never texts me back. Never texts me back. The girlfriend ended up texting me back. And I'm going to put on the screen exactly what she said. And if y'all want, y'all can pause this and you can read all that. She sent me a 5-page text message. Y'all, this woman said that I was raised, that my son deserved to be with his father because I was going to raise him to be a bitch. Said that we did not come out the same kitty cat. So that was not my sister. She didn't say kitty cat. She said the other word, but I don't know if I can say that on here. What else did she say? Oh, I can't keep a man. That's why my husband left me. That's why all the men leave me, because I'm broke. I'm broke. I'm fake. I'm all of this. And y'all, and I'm gonna take it there because you got to be taken there. I'm all of this, but every time I go to Atlanta, you always in my face. You always in my face, passing me blunts back and forth. You want to ride, I'm fake, but you want to ride around in my luxury car that I had, that I paid for. You want to ride around, you want to drive my shit, but I'm so broken. I'm a low life, and I'm not shit, and I'm a bad mother and all this stuff. So there was some back and forth that went on between this. I said what I said. And I don't know, y'all, like, do words hurt a little bit? But like, I also know, like, when you hang around trash people, and trash, it has nothing to do with your income, because there's a lot of people out here who walk around who don't got shit going on, no job, selling drugs, can't even sell drugs right. That's how you end up in prison, because you can't even go out there and how you say you a dope dealer and you can't go out there and you can't hustle up $300. I would be ashamed. I would be ashamed. You can't even go, flip it real quick and and in all of this, she was wrong. My sister was wrong. You borrowed money and you didn't pay it back. It doesn't, my parenting, who I've been with, my religion, has nothing to do with the fact that you borrowed money and you didn't pay me back. And you could have just said that from the beginning. You could have just said, hey, I don't really like you like that. And I blame my sister, because my sister, I trusted you. And you had me around this woman that don't like me. Y'all, that is dangerous. And I'm getting sick, because that's really, really dangerous. When people, and now I know all them little snarky, remarks, all that little, that ain't nothing but jealousy. That ain't nothing but hatred. And for her to unleash, not only on me, on my child, my innocent child, you are deranged, you are mental, you belong in the pen. That people who think like that's where you belong. So we had our little back and forth. I don't know what, I think I call her prison trash and low life and a whole bunch of, bitches and hoes and all that stuff. And at the end, I blocked her number. So I said what I said. And I considered it done. I considered at the end of me and the girlfriend going back and forth, I actually texted my sister and I said, I want you to leave me alone. Do not call me. Do not text me. Don't show up at my house. Don't send somebody else. Me and you are completely done. You can keep the money. Don't pay me back. That's my payment to you to no longer have you in my life. That's $300. Yeah, does it sting? Yeah, but I'll get over it. Allah will provide more on top of more on top of more for that. So, and why did you even let us borrow the money if you were going to be begging for it back? Bitch, it don't matter. You cannot argue with low lifes, y'all. Don't do it. Do not stress yourself out. Do not sit here and so I had to deal with that bullshit on top of my cat dying, on top of, just regular mental health shit that I go through. So y'all, it was really, really hard. So anyway, so we had our back and forth. I closed the chapter. Like, okay, cool. I'm done with it. 24 hours passed. And this bitch, I'm sorry, this girl, the girlfriend texted me. No, she didn't text me. She actually left me a voicemail. I don't know if I can figure out how to attach the voicemail here, but she left me a 5-minute voicemail. I'm not going to, because I don't want y'all to listen to that bullshit, because y'all my people, y'all don't need to listen to that. I'm not going to poison y'all's mind with that filth. But she left me a 5-minute voicemail. I did not read the voicemail myself. What I did was I went to the police, because I'm like, I've told you this is harassment, because I've told your ass to leave me alone. So I went down to the police, and they're both felons. So it was, the officer was like, oh, shit, yeah, I know. So I was like, hey, these people, they keep texting, calling me. Oh, and I did tell my sister before well, I'll get to that. So the police, they said they were going to, I guess, reach out to whoever their probation officer was. I don't know, but he was gonna reach out and do his end. He told me, it was like, listen, get you a temporary number for one of these little fake apps. Text your sister one more time and let her know any contact from this point on is harassment. Let her know that. Let her know one more time to leave you alone, and that any more contact is harassment. So I did that. I got a fake number, and I texted her. I was like, this is my last time telling you. And I have officers, I don't remember I have it. Hang on, y'all. Because I told y'all I got receipts, right? So I went down there, and it was Officer T. Ellison. He has his badge number and all this stuff on her. So I went down there. I went down there to talk to him. And this is his little card that he gave me. So he was like, let them know one more time, to cease and desist pretty much. So I did that, and I let my sister know once again. Do not call, do not text, all that stuff. So after that, oh, and I let her know I changed my number. So you don't have my number no more. So I did all of that. So everything was fine, at least on my end. I was starting to come to terms with just because somebody is family doesn't mean that they have your best interest. And again, you had me in a situation where you knew somebody did not like me and who has a history of being violent. So you're putting that to me, that you're putting me in danger. That's what that means to me. So some time had passed, and I don't know if I should even say this, y'all, but they showed up again by the help of my ex-husband. My son had an event. I did not know about this event. They knew about the event. My son had an event, and I don't know what he was thinking, but my ex-husband, he let them come to the party. And I'm like, why would you have our child around somebody who does not like me? What sense is, and how you don't like me, but you want to be around my kid? Y'all, you can't make this shit up. Like, you really can't. So I most of the time, like, me and him, like, we're okay. But y'all, I called him, and I was furious. I was furious. So I was like, okay, so what's next? You want to have him go over to their house? Mind you, these people they didn't even have a house. They were living in a hotel when I met them. They just recently got a house. I want to say like June. I think I was there June, July timeframe. They had finally got an apartment in somebody else's name because their history won't allow them to get an apartment. They couldn't even get Section 8. I'm not being shady, y'all. This is the truth. Like, wallah, I swear to Allah, this is the truth. So I'm like, so what's next? You gonna have our son over there at their house knowing that she sell dope or can't sell dope? And you y'all just be very, 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 very careful who you have a child with, because you are literally instilling your trust into their judgment, which may or may not be the right thing. Speaking of that, so I know my bad, y'all. I should have got all this beforehand, but so that being said, because I had told them one time to cease and desist, and that did not happen. So I let my son's father know. I was like, hey, this right here, this is from the county clerk in Florida. And this is a order hearing that I have to pursue a restraining order. And so many papers, but make sure that okay. So this one right here is for the girlfriend. And then this one is for my sister. So I let my son's father know. I was like, hey, I didn't feel like I needed to tell you that, but apparently I do have to tell you that I'm going to pursue a restraining order against both of them. And you need to bring our child down here so that he can be there for the hearing. So that's where I am right now with all of this. And y'all, what I learned from this situation is, I'm sorry, I should have had all of this put together, but it's a little disorganized, but it'll be fine. But what I learned from the situation, like I say, is to really pay attention to the red flags. If somebody does not like you, they can't help it. Like they can't help but to be rude and to be aggressive and to always seek a problem with what you are doing. And I do think it was jealousy. I think it was hatred. And you can, I don't know if I can say that on here. Oh shit. Oh, I'm gonna do that. But that shit can really have people forcibly remove you from this world. And what I learned now, and this goes for relationships, friendships, whoever, I don't give second chances to people. I just don't, y'all, because people don't change. Like they don't. I think they just get way better at hiding who they really are and what they really want. And to be honest, I think they really wanted my son. That's what I think. I know it's like, girl, what would you mean? I think that's really what they wanted, because you were always in his ear. You're always showing up to where he's at. Granted, you were invited, or they knew that you, I don't know. But to me, it's like, it's just weird that you have beef with me, but you want to be around my kid. So that's where we are in this situation, y'all. And I don't care what people say. I'm going to always take the legal way, because that's the strongest, to me, that's the strongest point that I can what am I trying to say? To me, that's the strongest way for me to get my point across, because you have people who've already committed crimes and already have a history of being felons. So I can just go ahead and I can pinch off of that. I can add that to the list as well. So y'all, that's where I'm at now. Now, like, my life is so peaceful. I also cut off my I feel like Allah is just like, girl, you don't need this, you don't need that, you don't need this, you don't need that. Like, I cut off the other best friend I had, who not the one I made a video about, but I had another female best friend. She's now also cut off. And I just feel so much peace, y'all. Like, especially on my good days, I just feel like I'm in so much peace right now. And when I was in contact with them, like, I was always anxious. I was always on edge. Me and my child's father were always at each other's throats because of what was going on. And I really think people, like, they just create drama. They don't have the girlfriend. She don't got no job. She don't got nothing going on. So they're going to sit and they're going to create problems and drama to keep their mind occupied. Instead of having employment that can keep your mind occupied, you're going to create drama and unnecessary tension, comments, whatever that was going on. My son is safe. Me and his father, we did talk about the incident where I had to call CPS. And we did have that conversation. I'm not going to go into detail about that. But as far as I know, and I talk to my son every single week, because he's a teenager, and like, I don't want, he want to be with his friends and stuff like that. So, but I talk to him and I let him know too, like, don't do what I do, babe. Like, don't give people second chances. Like, if they don't respect you, they don't respect you. And there's nothing you can do to change that. You don't owe anybody your forgiveness. If you want to forgive, you can. That don't mean you got to go back. That don't mean you got to talk to them. That don't mean you got to hang out with them. And I don't know, y'all, I feel at peace, and I'm so happy I went through that situation, because I needed to go through it so I can learn from these mistakes and really learn, like, dang, when somebody don't like you, like, it's just, the energy is off, like, you're gonna know. So that is my story time. Again, I'm in peace. I don't have any contact with her. The only contact I have with her is through that little restraining order right there. So that is my video. I thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Mwah.